You did not yell, you did not cry, you did not send the long message you spent an hour writing in your head. You just went quiet. And somehow that silence said everything you could not. The people around you kept talking, kept laughing, kept going like nothing had changed, but something had changed. Something inside you closed. Not dramatically, not with a door slamming, just a quiet, deliberate turning inward, like a light being dimmed rather than switched off. And if someone had asked you what was wrong, you probably would have said nothing, because the truth was too heavy to hand to someone who might not handle it carefully. This is not weakness. This is not passive aggression. This is one of the most complex and least understood psychological responses a human being can have, and the story behind it runs much deeper than most people ever think to look. There is a moment that happens long before the silence, long before the quiet that everyone notices but nobody knows what to do with. It happens in childhood, not always dramatically, sometimes in the smallest, most ordinary moments. A child says something that matters to them, something vulnerable, something true, and the room does not respond the way they needed it to. Maybe they were dismissed, maybe they were laughed at, maybe they were told to stop being so sensitive, maybe nothing was said at all, which was somehow the loudest response of all. And in that moment, without knowing they are doing it, the child makes a decision, not a conscious decision, not a choice they could articulate or defend, but a deeply held conclusion, recorded somewhere below language, below thought, that showing hurt brings more hurt, that vulnerability is not safe here, that the only protection available is silence. Psychologists call this the development of an avoidant attachment style. Research pioneered by John Bowlby and later Mary Ainsworth found that when a child's emotional needs are repeatedly unmet or met with criticism, the child adapts, not by needing less, but by learning to hide that they need at all. The internal experience remains exactly as intense. The pain is still there, the need for connection is still there, but the expression of it gets buried, gets managed, gets turned inward where it cannot be used against them. And the adult who goes quiet when they are hurt is almost always a person who learned this lesson early, who learned that their pain was a burden, who learned that asking for what they needed was either pointless or dangerous. The silence is not chosen every time it happens. It is a reflex, one that was trained into existence by years of experience before the person even knew what experience was. But the silence does something else too, something that is harder to explain, but just as important. When a person who is deeply hurt goes quiet, they are not simply withdrawing from the outside world, they are retreating to the only space where they have ever felt truly safe, their own inner world. Research on what psychologists call inward processing shows that highly emotionally intelligent people are more likely to go quiet when hurt, precisely because their inner world is rich enough to contain the experience. They do not need to externalize the pain to process it. They carry it internally, turning it over, examining it from every angle, sitting with it until they understand it. This is not avoidance. This is a different and often more sophisticated form of emotional processing. It simply looks like absence to everyone on the outside. And here's what the people on the outside almost always get wrong. They interpret the silence as anger, as punishment, as a withdrawal of affection designed to make them feel guilty. And sometimes, honestly, it is. But most of the time, the silence is not. Most of the time, the silence is simply the only language the hurt person has access to in that moment. Because when pain reaches a certain depth, words feel inadequate. They feel like they would cheapen something that deserves more weight than language can carry. The person who goes quiet when they are hurt is not refusing to communicate. They are communicating in the only way that feels true to what they are actually experiencing. The silence is the message, and the tragedy is that almost nobody knows how to read it. There is something else living inside the quiet, something that psychology has documented, but that rarely makes it into ordinary conversation. People who go quiet when they are hurt are often the same people who feel things most intensely. Research on sensory processing sensitivity, developed by psychologist Elaine Aron, found that approximately 20% of the population processes emotional and sensory information significantly more deeply than average. These people do not just feel hurt, they feel it in layers. They feel the immediate sting of whatever happened. They feel the older wounds that it reopened. They feel the implications of what it might mean about the relationship, about themselves, about the future. And all of that arrives simultaneously, not as a series of manageable thoughts, but as a wave. And the only response that feels proportionate to a wave of that size is silence, because anything else feels like trying to describe an ocean in a single sentence. The people who love someone who goes quiet when they are hurt find themselves in a particular kind of pain. They want to help and do not know how. They reach out and hit a wall. They try to draw the person out and feel the silence deepen. And they frequently make the mistake of pushing, of demanding explanation, of treating the silence as an obstacle to be overcome rather than a message to be respected. What research on emotional withdrawal consistently shows is that pushing into someone's silence before they are ready to speak almost always makes the withdrawal more complete. The person who needed time and space and the quiet signal that they were safe now feels pursued, now feels that the outside world is unsafe in the exact way they always feared it was. And the wall goes up, and the silence becomes longer, and what might have resolved in hours now takes days. What actually works is harder. It requires the person on the outside to do something deeply counterintuitive, to stay present without demanding presence in return, to say, "I am here," without making that statement a question, to give the hurting person the one thing they have almost never been given, the experience of someone sitting quietly beside their silence rather than trying to fix it. Because the person who goes quiet when they are hurt is not asking to be fixed. They are not asking to be drawn out. They are asking, in the only language they have, to be seen exactly as they are, hurt, quiet, present, real, without having to perform their pain for anyone else's comfort. The silence is not the problem. The silence is the person telling you exactly where they are, in the clearest possible way, in the only way they know how. And if the people around them could learn to hear it, not as rejection, not as punishment, not as something to be solved, but as a form of trust, the quiet person chose to stay. They did not leave. They did not explode. They went quiet. And going quiet, for someone who has always had to protect themselves from the cost of being seen, is sometimes the most honest and the most vulnerable thing they know how to do. This is what it actually looks like to carry something that never got to be spoken out loud. And if you recognize yourself in this, if you know this silence from the inside, then you already know that the world has almost never made space for what you actually carry. But it's there, all of it, and it matters, even when nobody is asking, even when nobody is listening, even in the quiet, especially in the quiet. This is the kind of psychology Sophix is built for. New video every week, the science of what is really happening underneath. Subscribe if this is the conversation you want to keep having. I'll see you next week.